All right. Hey guys, this is Steven, aka Even Steven Money. And we have today, Are My Friends' Parents Rich? So I thought I would, go close to home and actually bring a friend um, with me today. And I have today Steven Pfeiffer, but I don't want to take away all of his introduction. Steve, why don't you share a little bit about yourself with us today?
Hey, I'm Steve Pfeiffer. I'm a DUI attorney in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I've got a beautiful wife, kids, a dog, and my father lives with us as well. We take care of him. But my claim to fame is I grew up in the same home as Even Steven, and I've known him since about 5 years old. And we grew up in the sticks playing baseball and having big dreams and not a lot of vision to follow up as we were young. So that's a little bit about me.
Oh man, he's forecasting a little bit. He's giving away some of what we're talking about. Watch out. Yeah, I've grown. I actually, since both of our names are Steve, I don't think I actually call him Steve, so it's a little strange. So I'll be calling him Pfeiffer for the rest of the time. He's a good guy. I actually just told someone to go talk to him because I said, you know what, he's a good guy. You should talk to him. So by the way, someone in Virginia Beach may talk to you shortly.
Gracias.
No problem. But hey, I want to dive right in to Are My Friends' Parents Rich? You can definitely go read the article at evenstevenmoney.com. That's going to be out on Monday, bright and early at 6, 7 o'clock, depending when you wake up. But first question I want to ask you, Pfeiffer, is do we need rich parents to get ahead in life?
No, we don't. Is it helpful? Yes, absolutely. You take advantage of any opportunity you have, and I don't envy people who had wealthy parents and they got a head start in what they're doing, but you don't need it. It's helpful, but you don't need it. What you need is a plan and vision and the determination to just work your butt off and stick to that plan to advance yourself throughout life. So it's helpful, but it's not necessary.
Okay. Now, I did a little bit of, I talked about your parents a little bit and kind of how you had, I would say not a wealthy background, but, they were a combination of white, blue collar workers. Now, with all that being said, did your parents show you the path to wealth? Now, I want to separate that from showing you, how to get into college or how to lead the right life. Now, this is purely about wealth. And I define wealth as, a net worth of $10 million or north of that with that.
No, unfortunately, God loved my mom and my dad. They really didn't define any path or any way to achieve wealth in your life. My dad worked foundry jobs until he made his way to a salesman job for the end of my high school career. My mom worked 100 different jobs doing sales and things like that. They never planned on how to prepare for the future. They never planned for catastrophe. They never planned for college savings because we were frankly paycheck to paycheck most of the time growing up. We weren't without food. We weren't without clothes. But they just showed me hard work, which is an amazing tool that they gave me to see dedication and hard work. But they didn't have any vision specifically with regard to how to prepare for a life of gaining wealth to then free you up to do other things.
Interesting. Very interesting. And that's really why I wanted to ask you because, I don't think either one of us really got that path to wealth. There wasn't an investment or financial advisor in our family. We didn't have hedge funds or CEOs that were hanging out. We didn't stop at our Malibu beach house or, anything on those lines, at least, not that I remember. I mean, one of my most exciting days with you was like being able to get into Noah's Ark, free of charge. It's a little bit different than the expensive house somewhere on the lake or on the ocean. So yeah, the wealth part, it's definitely why I'm asking these questions. And it's an interesting topic.
Absolutely. I think our version of a penthouse was sitting on top of a hayloft in a barn, but and I wouldn't know what a financial advisor was if my life depended on it back where I grew up. I don't think they have them where we grew up. So
that's a really good point. You're right. I'm not sure if there was a financial advisor in our area. That's crazy. I didn't even think about that. Well, so here's a question. Now, would your path have been different if your mom or dad, instead of that sales job, or I mentioned your mother worked at Nestle's, um, what if instead one of your parents was a CEO or a top level executive? Do you think your path would have changed? You know, because obviously, you know, we both went to college. You took another step and you became a lawyer. Do you think that path would have changed in some way? Do you think you would have went to possibly a higher level, you know, higher rated school, more expensive? Because I'd have to think that expenses in some way factored into some of your financial decisions in terms of what school you went to. But maybe I'm wrong.
You know, I've actually thought about a similar question a long time about that, of how, where would I be differently if my parents had a higher net worth when I was a kid and we didn't, you know, struggle growing up here and there. Um, you know, is there a chance I would have went to a higher tiered school? I don't think so, really. I think I knew I wanted to be a lawyer since I was really young. I mean, you remember me talking about it when we were kids. I wanted to be a lawyer. I thought Perry Mason was the man, so I wanted to be.
Anyone who's over the age of, or no, under the age of, I think 25 has no idea what we're talking about. But
well, good news. I heard Robert Downey Jr. is actually going to bring it back, so that will be fantastic. But I don't think it would have changed my path, honestly. Hard work, determination, and having a vision of what I wanted to do was my guide. I had no idea that being a lawyer would bring certain types of investment opportunities or net worth and things like that that I could use. That wasn't my goal. My goal was just being a lawyer. So I don't think my parents having a higher net worth than me growing up would have changed my path to where I was going, but I think it would have changed my financial intelligence. I think
okay.
in that position, they would have helped guide me in understanding what a 401k is, understanding how to do different investments, have a diversified portfolio, or even tell me what a portfolio meant back then. I don't think my dad could tell me that today. But I think my financial knowledge and my long-term planning for financial independence in the future would have been greatly different if I had a family member who had a higher net worth. I think that's kind of a natural product of that.
Okay. Yeah, and that's it's interesting that you thought about that as well. So one of the reasons I bring up I know you said your path wouldn't have changed, right? But within the last, I would say 1 to 3 months, there's been a lot of scandal really with parents actually bribing, whether it be you know, officials at the school or you know, kind of like a middleman. So I don't know if they didn't think they were going to get in trouble or how it worked. But the idea was that, you know, if you couldn't get into, or they wanted to make sure that they got into Stanford or Yale or, you know, whatever other upper echelon schools are out there. Now, if you went to Penn and Yale, I know you said you know, you wouldn't have changed your path, but do you think you would be wealthier today by making a switch in just the school itself, rather than going to, now I know you went to a private school in Wisconsin for college, and instead, if you went to what is now considered the top business school, which is the University of Penn, and then you said, hey, you know what, I did great there, I'm going to transition to Yale, which is now the top law school, would that have increased your wealth? Would that have changed your, I guess, your trajectory on that?
Yeah, I think it would have. Had I done as well at those schools as I did the schools that I went to, assuming that premise stays the same, yeah, I think my net worth would be vastly different, because those schools funnel you to higher profile positions and jobs at larger firms with higher pay. So I think my financial stability, my financial outlook would have been in much better position earlier on in my career and even today. But I think that would have came at the sacrifice of me having the family that I have today, me having the time and freedom that I have in my environment, being able to pick a firm that I'm able to have a lot more flexibility in, to coach my kids' baseball team and to, you know, go to my daughter's soccer games and be a part of that. So I think my lifestyle would be different, but definitely my finances would probably be substantially more elevated if I had taken that path.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that, and I mean, some of it, you know, maybe I'll do my best lawyer. I'm probably leading the witness a little bit on that, because I mean, some of it does make sense. You know, if you are going to go to a school that's going to put you into essentially, you know, a higher position, one with a higher salary, assuming that you follow the same, principles of, spending less and saving more, your net worth essentially has to be higher in those cases, unless some sort of catastrophe happens. But knowing all of that, now we talked about, are my parents rich? I go into a little bit of your parents. Now that you are a parent, and then we're talking about this a little bit, the big question is, how are you showing your children the path to wealth, or how will you? Is that a part of what you're going to do? Other than, I know installing hard work is going to be part of it, but are you going to show them a different path to wealth than what you had from your parents?
Absolutely. And I have to give credit to my amazing wife, Shelly. You know, Shelly, and, she's our CFO of our house. I'd like to take credit for it, but the fact of the matter is she's a CFO and she is very financially literate. She is focused on developing financial freedom for our family and also educating our kids. So I know we're already doing that. In fact, she has my son, who started summer vacation, excited to learn about stocks and options trading. And she's like talking to him and teaching him about these things over the summer. And every day he comes home and says, "Mom, when can I learn more about, when are you going to have me do stocks with you or options with you?" So she's making an exciting environment for our kids to learn about different sources of investment and walking through it. We also teach them the principles of saving when they get chores and they get allowance and money. We tell them, hey, save your money, use it for things like that. Tithing's a big deal for us. We like to make sure that we give money back to our church for our faith. That's just something that's important to us, or to the community, is make a difference as a church. Showing them those principles. And I think we're being very proactive in teaching our kids about financial intelligence and the goal for them to have a financial freedom as they matriculate and grow older.
And I mean, that sounds like a great path. It sounds like a lot of good things that you're, possibly great things that you're doing, and really mentoring. Now, do you think, again, will you have someone who, now we defining someone who has a net worth of $10 million or more. Now, would you have someone step in and say, hey, can you talk about wealth with my children? I'm at a certain level, right? I would think, maybe someone who's in a 10 to $50 million net worth range, and say, hey, can you share with my son what you did and some of the things that worked for you? Just to give them more of a broad examples, and, potentially a mentor, but, it's always going to start with the parents, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an important step in our kids' development in financial literacy. Learning from us the basic fundamental building blocks, seeing from us the way we handle our money and go forward. Yeah. And then introducing them to people that are financially responsible. My son was asking me questions the other day about Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, and he's asking about these very wealthy individuals, and I was sort of walking him through like some of the things they've done over their lives and how they started and where they invest and what they do. And he's very interested in that. My daughter, she's 6, not quite there yet. She's 8, she's not quite there yet. She's still asking questions about it, but I want to get them involved and meet people of different net worth and learn from them as they grow and their understanding grows. They also have their uncle, even Steven, who they can reach out to, talk to whenever they like as well. They look out for them as well. So no, it's gonna be a part of our plan for sure. And I think they're already naturally, especially my son, is really interested in this. And I'm definitely gonna put him in touch with people of higher net worth and help him see a roadmap from them and just learn and glean information from them. I think it's important.
Hey, that's great. I think, what do they say? Children are the future. We're the old guys. We're out. Got to make sure we take care of the kids. But on that, are your parents rich? My name is Steven, aka Even Steven Money. Thank you very much, Steven Pfeiffer, for joining me today, aka Pfeiffer. Please just call him Pfeiffer. It's going to throw me off.
It's true.
If you know him, if you've met him, if you're ever in the Virginia Beach area, please reach out and say hello to my good man, Mr. Steven Pfeiffer. I'm sure he can help you in some way, depending on what you need in your everyday attorney life, of course. We won't get into details on that one. But again, thank you so much for joining me, Steve. Great talking with you as always. That's all I got, unless you got more.
No, it's a pleasure, brother. Keep up the good work.
Cheers, man.